What's going on, guys? It's Dan here. Welcome to another DanQ review, Supershow, the first one of 2013. Obvious question. I'm sure you guys are thinking, Dan, why the hell are you wearing a house coat right now? It's mad cold in here for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm just mad cold and I don't really want to wear a jacket. So I got this for my birthday from my girlfriend. So it's cozy. I suggest everyone get one. Trust me, if you don't have a house coat, get one. This isn't made of the towel stuff. It's made of something else, but ooh, it's cozy. So I figured I'd wear it. Who cares? What are you to tell me not? Anyway, let's get into this DanQ review. Basically, it's a hack and slash beat 'em up special with two hack and slash beat 'em up games on the lineup. Alright, so starting off the first release of the year, well, for North America, is Anarchy Reigns. Now, what am I talking about with Anarchy Reigns? Well, there's a big problem with this game. This game is actually not new. This game was ready to be released in North America back when in July of 2012, when it released in Japan. Like, it was dubbed in English. It was ready to go. The same product we have here was ready. For some reason, they delayed it so much. But we're going to get into that a little later. I'm going to start off with the summary. So, Anarchy Reigns is available on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. It is a beat-em-up game. It is developed by Platinum Games and published by Sega. Okay? No! Don't fall. Thank you. Okay, so what do I have to say about Anarchy Reigns? I had never played anything like it. It is actually a spiritual successor to the game Mad World, which was the Wii exclusive that released back in 2009. Now, Anarchy Reigns doesn't really follow much of a story. It does have one, yes, actually I shouldn't say that, it does follow a story. But what do I really feel about it? Anarchy Reigns. The first impression I got from this game, I've never been a huge fan of beat-em-ups or hack-and-slash games, to be 100% honest with you, because they always got a little repetitive for me. But this game, right off the bat, had kind of an interesting style to it. I couldn't really explain it, but it has its own campaign, and it has its multiplayer as well. Those are the two main modes. Now, I had originally thought this game was multiplayer only. The way they branded it, it seemed to only have a multiplayer. No, it actually has a single-player campaign that follows two main characters from different perspectives. And that's what was pretty cool about this game. I mean, while it does take you a little bit to get used to it, because most beat-em-ups and hack and slashes, I'm going to mention this right now. This game has an addiction factor, okay? It does make you want to play more as you get there, because obviously with a lot of these type of games, you want to increase your skill in combos and the basic gameplay elements just to make, get yourself better at the game. So I'm going to put that down, obviously. This game is it is somewhat addicting. It makes you want to play more and find out what's happening. How is it? Like, how is there anything really crazy in terms of storyline? Now, what's about the storyline? Now, the good news is you don't really need to play the game Mad World to understand the storyline. Yes, there's a few characters from Mad World in this game. There's actually, most of them are from the game Mad World. I never played Mad World. I'm sure a lot of you did, but not everybody did. So, a lot of people may not know what this is about. But the storyline itself is pretty interesting because you can choose from different sides. You can either play on the black side or the white side, which is basically a different character. Where if you choose black side, you play as this guy right here, Jack, or if you choose white side, you play as this guy, Leo. And they both have their own moveset, their own abilities, and they both work for a different person, or they work for themselves, or they have their own reasons for trying to find this one guy and bring him to justice in their own ways. Now, the thing about that is that depending which one you pick, will actually change the outcome of the game. So the way I did it was I picked Jack as my main character, as the starting character, and then I picked Lee. And then what it does is once you finish Jack's campaign, there's 4 stages in each campaign. Once you finish the first campaign, it basically brings you right back in time and throws you into the other guy's campaign. Basically, what's going on as you're playing as these characters. Now, what happens is once you finish the second guy's campaign, you're basically given a red side, and a red side is a bonus stage. Not really a bonus stage, but it's the true ending of the games. And like I said, depending who you start with is who you're going to finish with. Since I played as Jack, I played as Jack for 4 stages, switched to Leo for 4 stages, and I ended the game playing as Jack. I did it in reverse role, and I play as Leo first, went Leo Jack. I'd have Leo in the ending, getting a different ending. So it is kind of cool they did that. The story is kind of interesting, kind of hard to understand. It is kind of weird. Like, I don't really know where these guys came from, just because I never played Mad World. But from what people are telling me, this game is like Mad World, but in terms of the art style and the design, it's completely different. So, unfortunately, I was a little confused with the storyline. Like, I got it. Like, I knew it was happening, but I didn't know why they had these powers, why they had these abilities, what chasers really were, because that's what these guys are. They're all chasers, because there's a few. But again, if you played Mad World, you'd have reoccurring characters that you were aware of. Like, for example, the Blacker Baron or Matilda. You know, people like that. And there's also Max, the main villain, was also in the first, in Mad World. Like I said, you don't really understand what happens with these characters, their backstory, because I never played it. But that's not really a thing on me. But the fact that they're, like, I don't know, marketing it now, you know what I mean? Like, Mad World wasn't a huge hit, and this game is supposed to be like, I don't know what prompted them to do it, okay? Anarchy Reigns, it's still entertaining as in gameplay in that style. So, the storyline, did I like it? Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. It ended definitively. The combos were pretty good. You had a special ability. Each character has their own special, like, weapon, which is really cool. Like, Jack has a chainsaw. You know, and a lot of, like, basically, like I said, they're weird. Like, these games aren't meant to make sense. But in terms of the single-player experience, I did like it. It did get rather challenging, but that's the kind of thing, once you get it, it makes you even better than you were before. So that's good about it. It's a good challenge for anybody who likes good challenges, you know, obviously. Now, in terms of anything else single-player-wise, what's the length going to be? The game is actually, how long was it for me? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think how long it actually took me. This game isn't overly long. I think you could probably beat it if you know what you're doing. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think. 45 minutes. Usually each stage is about 45 minutes long for me. So, let's see. 45 minutes. So half, 1 hour and a half. Hour and a half. So basically, it's 3 hours per state, like per campaign. So basically, you're looking at 6 to 6.5 hours. So it's a little below average on the campaign side. But the thing is, you're supposed to go back and play it again as the other character first. The only downside about that is that when you do, it's the exact same experience. The only difference is the ending. So you have to play through the entire game just to get the second ending because they wanted you to do that. Yeah, you can improve your skills, up the difficulty a little bit, but to me it didn't seem worth it. The campaign wasn't that good to go back to it, but it is what it is. You know, they want you to play the game, try different trials, you know, like try different difficulties, you know, that sort of thing. Do some collections, you know, collectibles or whatever, all the side missions, whatever, you know, getting the best scores you can. But like I said, it wasn't something to go back for, and I probably wouldn't go back to this for campaign, not in the slightest. So, campaign overall good experience, something different for me, my taste. Once I figured out the controls, I started having a lot more fun, but it does have an addiction factor to it. All right, let's go to the other game mode in this game, the multiplayer. Now, I see nothing but potential for the multiplayer. Why do I see nothing but potential? The multiplayer is a very unique multiplayer setting. Not often are you set with teams who are just melee fighting, like not necessarily melee, but fist to foot combo, or fist and foot against each other in a big setting in these big levels with power-ups and things like that, with different game modes like, you know, team deathmatch, capture the flag, that kind of thing. As not in a first-person shooter setting, you know, where you're actually beating other real-life characters up. You know, that's where the name comes from. I never really played beat 'em up, so I don't know if this is the first time something like that happened, but it was unique to me, the whole unique atmosphere of the multiplayer. That was cool. Big failure with the multiplayer. I hated it, okay? Now, while the idea was there, the execution was terrible. Not because of gameplay, not because of, the game itself or the game modes, but the way they chose to release this game and their pathetic excuse for matchmaking. What am I talking about? Alright, so like I said, this game came out in Japan as Max Anarchy. That was the name of the title in Japan in July of 2012. Almost a year later, basically, July was basically 7 months later, you're looking at the title releasing in North America. So basically, you're on the same exact servers as the Japanese who've had the game for however long. Yes, you can filter them out, but at the same time, this goes to the other, why I think matchmaking sucks ass. The matchmaking is so bad because my first match in matchmaking, I played player match to start, was me, a level 1 character, against myself, a level 1 character, and I think it was 4-on-4. Myself, level 1, another guy on my team was level 3, another guy was maybe a level 10 and then a level 12 or something like that. The other team, level 38, level 45, level 50, level 46, all against us. How is that good matchmaking? The whole time, every game I played, I was on a team that had lower amounts of people. I even got into a game, I'm like, you know what, maybe it's the fact that I'm playing player match. So I switched to ranked match. And what happened? It's the same thing. In fact, it was worse. They had I remember coming up in a ranked match, and it was 2 versus 2 versus 2 versus 2. So teams of 2, there's 4 teams. Myself and a level 4 were paired together. Okay. Problem being, all the other teams, level 50, level 38, level 45, level 29. Like way higher levels, and we're the lowest. Shouldn't I be with the level 50, and shouldn't that guy be with like the level 46? Doesn't that make sense? Like, I don't know about you, but I couldn't even learn. That was the problem. The game's matchmaking wouldn't even let you progress in skill. And a lot of people would say, Dan, why don't you just practice in the single player? Because an AI is not a human being. An AI is way different and has way different gameplay styles. They're just programmed. A human being knows tricks and, sorry, my stomach there digested. I don't know if you heard that. I don't know. That was weird. Anyway, they know ways to get around the system, and the biggest problem is all the people I played knew flaws in the game style, and they actually used them to their advantage, which were super cheap, and I could barely get a shot off. The fact that you cannot block, you can block the attack, but if they get in a combo, you're done. They're going to remain the combo. And the thing is, unless you time it properly, you're really good at the game, you're not going to be able to get out of it that well. And I don't know how many times where I'd be in the middle of a combo and somehow, even though they were being juggled, their special move would come out and they'd knock me on my ass. So I thought it was super cheap, just the way that they were pairing me with level 50s. And I couldn't even have fun. I couldn't even learn. I couldn't even get better at the game just because it was so unmatched all the time. Because of that, matchmaking and the multiplayer sucked. I only played it for barely an hour. I think it was just under an hour, like 58 minutes or something like that. Normally I play for like, I don't know, whatever 8 parts worth. So like maybe 3-4 hours. I couldn't even do one. It was horrendously bad just because it was so unfair. So unfortunately, because of their crappy matchmaking, and the thing was there was nobody else playing. I tried various game types. There's not enough people playing in North America. I set the filter to North America just for, obviously faster loading, and I wouldn't be playing against Japanese, but it didn't matter. Not because they're Japanese, but because they kicked my ass. It didn't matter though, because I still got paired with a bunch of people who were way higher difficulty than me in North America. So it sucked in that regard. So overall, Anarchy Reigns. You know what? I forgot to mention. This game is cheap. So it has a saving grace. It's a $30 title right now because obviously the game's been out for 7 months or whatever it is, and they can't just release it full retail. So it's only $30 for this game on both PS3 and Xbox 360. Did I? Yeah, I mentioned that. So it's a cheap game. If you want something cheaper, you don't have a whole lot. You like your beat 'em ups. This is a good game. If you feel you got the skill to be in a beat 'em up and you don't have to worry about multiplayer, you know what I mean? Like, or if you just want a brief campaign experience, this isn't bad. Problem is, it does get a little stale in the campaign. The multiplayer is really irritating, at least for me, an average gamer, I like to say. I couldn't even learn and I couldn't even get better in the multiplayer just because the matchmaking was so poor. Put me with the highest level guys you can imagine. And it just was not fun because level 50, I think, is the level cap in the game. So I couldn't enjoy it. I don't even think I leveled up to level 2, believe it or not. So my ass got kicked. So I didn't like this game that much. Overall, it was just something as filler, I found. But like I said, if you like your beat 'em ups, you may want to grab this just because it's so cheap. You're like, I'm bored. I got $30 to blow. What should I do? I like playing beat 'em ups and hack and slashes. Here's a simple game. That's the only circumstance I would recommend this game to somebody who's not familiar with beat 'em ups, or you're trying to expand your horizons. Don't expand them with this game because it may put a bad taste of beat 'em ups in your mouth. I played beat 'em ups before, and they're better than this. This was just an average game. So therefore, I'm going to rate Anarchy Reigns a 6 out of 10. I know a lot of people may say, oh, that's pretty low. No, it's actually, average would be around 5 or 6. So it's basically an average game. The price tag is good. If this game were like a $60 release, it would not get anything. It would not get higher. It would get lower. So the fact that it's $30, that's great. But if they improve the multiplayer to make matchmaking more suitable for newer players to practice with people who are their age, or not their age, sorry, their age, their difficulty, their skill level, then the multiplayer would have been way more fun. I probably would have boosted the game's ranking up. But it's only a 6 for me just because campaign, while I enjoyed it, it did get old. You're like by the time I switched to the next stage, I was like, I'm kind of done, I don't really want to play this game anymore because it does get a little repetitive and the cheap tactics in the game, it happens. So 6 out of 10, it's one of those things where, there's nothing else out. I want to play something new. $30, done deal, right? So that's the only circumstance I would really recommend this game, and if you're a big fan of beat 'em ups. So that's Anarchy Reigns. Let's go on to our next title. A very highly anticipated game, kind of mixed with how people felt about it, but DmC Devil May Cry. Basically what this is, now a lot of people are like, oh, it's a prequel, oh, it's this. No, actually it's a reimagination of the events of Devil May Cry. Because this actually occurs, it does occur before Devil May Cry 1, but it's basically when you go through these different bosses, you'll see bosses that are in the other Devil May Cry games. Like the succubus, for example, was in Devil May Cry 4, I believe. I'm not sure. Someone said that to mention that. But if it was in Devil May Cry 4 and you beat it then, how is it in this game, right? So it's a different way how things would have gone if they were this way, you know what I mean? How Dante was, different, basically imagine this whole thing differently. That's all it is, but regardless, before we get too much into it, I'm going to go into the summary right now. DmC Devil May Cry is available on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. It is a hack and slash beat 'em up game. It is developed by Ninja Theory and published by Capcom. Okay? So Devil May Cry. Like I said, I never really played too many hack and slash beat 'em up games before. But I was aware of the Devil May Cry series. I was very much aware, and I knew how people loved it. Now, the thing is with this game, all beat 'em ups and hack and slashes take time to get the combos. But this game had one of the most satisfying combos, being able to execute these sick combos. You get a really good juggle, and then you just finish them off with a giant hammer throw. I thought that was a lot of fun. So my favorite element, probably one of my favorite elements of the gameplay, is the whole combo. I love the melee combat in this game. The combat in general. The combat's really entertaining. The ability to learn new moves and applying them and getting better at it and just dominating these enemies. It's just such an awesome feeling. Look what I just did. That's some precision. You know what I mean? So there was a bit of that. Getting used to the controls though was a bit of an uphill battle at the start. But you get used to the game as time goes on. So I did really like the gameplay of this game. Now, being somebody who is actually not overly familiar with the Devil May Cry series, I'm not gonna lie to you, I played them a bit, but I never, it was always one stage. I never really played. I think the only one I ever played was DmC 4, and or was it 2? I think I played 2 briefly, and then 4 a little more as a trial basis, a demo kind of thing. So. Yeah, I don't really know it that much, but I played a little bit to try it out. And back then, though, I like I said, I only played a certain style of game. I played way less, so I couldn't really get into it. Now, a lot of the fans of the DmC series said various things. A good chunk of them said this was an insult to the franchise, being that the characters of Dante and Virgil and all these characters that are in the game look really weird, how they render their faces and change the look of them. Because Dante normally has white hair, but this is before right? So I guess they didn't want to imply that his inner demon was coming out yet or whatever. I don't know exactly, but a lot of people didn't like that. I don't see what the big deal was because I've seen Dante in the other games. I'm not not being a fan though. I guess my point isn't really valid. But coming from somebody who's new to the series, I had no problem with the way he looked or how the game looked itself or the storyline. So that's me though. I'm sure fans are gonna be like, this makes no sense. Why is this here? Why is that there? Why does he look like that? Etc. So, but coming from this is perfect because I come from a neutral standpoint. I'm not on either side of the fence. I'm coming into a series and be like, okay, let me look at the facts, right? So, from my perspective, I had no problem with it. I didn't mind the way it looked. Now, the storyline. How does the storyline go? I actually liked it. It was really interesting how you were able to see how you were, stuck in limbo, and you get thrown into limbo, sucked or taken into limbo by these demons. You have to fight your way out all the time to try and, and the powers that you get, and the characters in the game, and your ultimate goal, and some of the nasty bosses you fight. Some of them are really crazy, and they're pretty entertaining boss fights. The game is not overly long. It's probably going to take you about it's probably about 5 or 6 hours long, this game. I'd say more along 6, close, maybe 6.5. So it's an average game. Problem being, this game is only single player. Now the point behind it is they want you to replay on different difficulties and try different things out. Now me, after I was done this game, this was another case. I'm done with it. This was fun, but I don't need to go back. I don't want the same experience. You can go back and get some of the collectibles with the new abilities that you require to get those collectibles, but you don't need to, you know what I mean? You can jump back into stage, try it, get a better rating, you know what I mean? But now that you're better at the game, you have all these new abilities and weapons, you can try it and advance yourself. So, like I said, the storyline, it was innovative, I liked it, it was entertaining, You really wanted to kill all these main bosses. You're like, look at this creature, it just needs to be killed. Just for God's sake, I feel ugly just for looking at it, you know what I mean? Things like that, all these enemies who want to kill you, and there's some comedic elements too, like Dante can be a smart ass sometimes, it's trash talking a demon and trying to be his one-liners or whatever. It's really entertaining to go around. So the gameplay itself and the storyline I was a fan of, and those are probably the stronger suits here. This is coming, like I said, from a neutral standpoint. I can't really say how it is for somebody who's a fan and be like, oh, this is not like any of the other DMCs. So, yeah. But the downside, like I said, the campaign could be longer. There could have been a little bit more to it. I think there really could be. A few of the stages get a little repetitive, but that's how hack and slashes do get. It's the same enemies over and over. The fact that you get better at it and you try new combos definitely makes it better on you and easier. But for some people that may not be enough, which is why hack and slash is it depends. You have to really like hack and slash to really keep up with it. Because some people may find it repetitive while others find it incredibly addicting. I'm kind of in the middle. Because once you get used to the game and you start playing it, you just want to advance your skills, and story doesn't so much matter anymore. I can get that. Just killing enemies in new and better ways and trying to see what kind of combos you can create is basically the meat of it. At least that's how I see it. So the combos are really awesome. The gameplay is awesome. The story is really entertaining. It's different for me. It's unique, and I like Dante. I like playing as Dante and having his own brother with him, Virgil, his twin brother, learning their backstory and where they came from and what significance their parents had on this demon war that's going on. You know what I mean? The fact that the demons are trying to take over through. Various ways. It's interesting. I thought it was interesting. Downsides about it, though, is that some may view it as repetitive. Some may not think that the game was long enough, because when a game gets repetitive, you just feel, you're kind of done with it anyway. And the fact that there's not much else to do except replay it and try different things. That a lot of people might have a problem with, and I understand that completely. But other than that, the game was pretty good. Nothing crazy. Is it worth a full 60? I don't know. I don't really know. This game, I probably wouldn't have done it. Actually, this was kind of a last-minute thing. Not really last-minute thing. I had planned on doing it, but I normally wouldn't have done it if the game, if there was more stuff coming out this month. But that being said, it was entertaining and I had fun with it. It does have the addicting factor as well, a little more so than Anarchy Reigns, but at the same time, hack and slashes do kind of get on the stale side. So a pretty good campaign or single player story mode. I like the characters. A pretty fun and an addicting gameplay. But at the same time, the game could be longer, could be more variety, maybe some challenge modes. I think like they do have challenge modes in the story, but you have to find them first. If they had a whole set thing to challenge modes, and you can customize the difficulty yourself without having to find keys to unlock the challenge modes, and you cannot access these challenge modes unless you go into the campaign or into the mission and find them. If they had a challenge mode like that, or a multiplayer, something like that, I think that would have improved it as well. But this game was pretty good. Like I said, if you like hack and slashes, you'll like this game. Even if you're not, if you're a really big fan of DmC, some of you may feel differently, and you feel this was an insult to the franchise. I see it differently. I see it as a new game. A lot of people said if they got rid of DmC Devil May Cry and they took out Devil May Cry and just called it something else, you would probably have a better title. I don't see how that matters. It's just the name. Like, honestly, it follows characters. It's a reimagining. It's a what-if scenario. You know, it's not obviously what happened in the main story or in the main plot of the actual games, but it's something else. You know, look at it from a different perspective kind of thing. That's what the developers were kind of going with this. So, like I said, not a bad game. Nothing overly impressive, but a game that I think everyone should at least try out. You know what I mean? I know you can't rent them anymore, unfortunately. $60, not really, because I probably won't go back to it, but better than a lot of the games that they charge for $60. So I'm going to give DmC Devil May Cry a 7 out of 10. Not a bad score, actually pretty good when you think about it. Something I think a lot of I think Devil May Cry fans should give it a try. I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, this is offensive to the series. They shat all over us and the fans and what we actually wanted in our next DmC. We want another DmC 3. Enough of this crap that they keep giving out. Give it a try. And people who are not hack and slash freaks, I would try this out. At least give it a shot. Because it's not bad. I mean, I don't hate this game at all. It's not a bad game. It's actually pretty fun. And a lot of people think it's addicting, and I do too. I understand that. But there's nothing else for me to do in it. I don't want to try on the harder difficulties. I don't care about collections. Because there's nothing really crazy you get from it. There's nothing really new. You're just playing the level over and over and over again. That can get repetitive, okay? So that's it for this episode of the DanQ review. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Stay. There. I hope you enjoyed this hack and slash special, beat 'em up special of DanQ Review Super Show. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope it lets you make a decision. Very slow month of January. Well, hack and slash January, beat 'em up January, beat up January, beat January to shit. Just kick the shit out of January. Get rid of the winter by beating up. That doesn't even make sense. Anyways, guys, thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought of these games. Let me know your thoughts on my scores, what you would pick, vice versa, whatever the case would be. Anything I did wrong, I'm sure you guys don't mind telling me. So anyways, thanks again, guys. Have a good one. See you later, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.